Hello and welcome back to Long-Term Reviews. This is an update review on the Casio G-Shock GW-6900. It is a tough solar watch, and it also has a radio control feature where it receives its time from whatever atomic clock you're nearest to. I've had this watch for 6 years, and I have worn it for 5 of those 6. For about a year, I actually switched to an inexpensive Fitbit model, and then left this watch inside of a drawer away from the sunlight just to see how that would impact it. After a year, I pulled it out, and its charge had fallen from a high charge to a mid charge. But the screen had shut down just like it does every night. I shook it, it powered back on, and within a day or so, it showed exactly the right time, picked up like nothing ever happened. The time whenever I took it out of the box was correct as well, if I'm not mistaken. So leaving one of these packaged away for a year did nothing to slow it down. I won't go through all of the features on this watch. I have another video that covers the features on this particular model. But I have been thrilled with it over the last 6 years. I have a few really good things that I'll talk about, and then a few things that I wish were a little bit different or better. In terms of good things, the watch stays charged. I have not had to buy a battery in 6 years. I haven't had to replace the battery. It just runs. I just wear it. I don't really think about it. Here, within the last year, during the winter months, I noticed that my power indicator dropped from high to mid. I think that was as likely as anything a function of wearing longer sleeved outer garments that covered the watch face a lot of the time, and so it just wasn't getting as much light as normal. Now in the summer months, it's back up to high and really hasn't dropped to mid since the winter. It updates its time every single evening. Around midnight, it updates the time, and so the time is always accurate to a fraction of a second. I haven't had any issues with that. I've traveled with it some, but not out of the U.S. But where I've traveled in the southern and eastern U.S. and have had no real problems with it updating time. It does say in the manual, like, to position it near a window and have the face like pointed towards the window. I've never done that, and it's never had any trouble updating. In terms of the water resistance, it's water resistant to 20 bar, which is roughly 200 meters. I have showered in this watch. I've swam in this watch. I have kayaked and paddleboarded in this watch. It's never really had any issues with the water. Now, I have not dove with the watch. I can't speak to how robust it would be in diving conditions, but normal swimming, everyday wear, it's certainly held up just fine. I do like the fact that it has a world time, and I can switch what time zone that world time is set to. And so if I do travel out of my home time zone, I can have it show the local time without having to go through the hassle of actually changing what time zone the watch is set to. It does have a couple of alarms, a stopwatch, a timer, and all that jazz. So overall, I do really like it. It's held up well. No real complaints about the features. Now, if you're looking for something that's fancy and connected to the internet and it's going to count your steps and give you notifications, this is not the watch for you. But it does exactly what I want it to do, which is keep time very well, and be basically a no-hassle experience from the standpoint of batteries. Just in terms of wear, I've worn this watch every day for 5 of the 6 years that I have had it. Some wear has become a little noticeable over that period of time. Some of the rubberized plastic here around our light button, let's see if I can get that to focus. Yeah, it's not looking as fresh as it once did, okay? And the screen is not as fresh as it once was either. The band in particular, though, has experienced some wear, especially this retainer ring. Oh, let me get that in focus there. Yeah, so we have just a little bit of wear around the corners of this kind of strap retainer. And right here. Yeah, so just a little bit of wearing there. Okay. On the band itself, where I keep it, there's some wear right around that area that has happened over time. There's also just a little bit of cracking to the rubberized, the plastic rubber material as well. On the inside, that cracking is more evident. And so the band is, you know, it's wearing some. I've had it for 6 years. In terms of the bad, and this is the only thing that I have bad to say about the watch, is that it does tend to have a residue buildup, and I have pictures. I scrubbed this really well before I shot this video, but I took pictures before I scrubbed it down. But there's residue that collects on the inside of the strap, and I do wish that the inside didn't have these little nooks for residue to get into. Here's some more of that. This is probably just soap from washing my hands and whatnot, but it still is a little bit of a pain to keep looking clean because that residue has a whitish color, and against the black watch band, it just really does stand out. Same thing happens in these little circles on the band face and in these little ridges here as well. Similar things happen around the face in these little crannies in particular. There's some residue that tends to build up over time if I just wear the watch normally. And I wish that were a little easier to clean out. The case geometry were just a little different to facilitate an easier cleaning process there. Overall, though, I've been really impressed with this watch and have no plans to wear a different watch. It's been great. Now, it's not the dressiest watch, it's not the best looking watch, but for an everyday watch, just to have something to tell you what time it is and to know that that's the accurate time, it's been fantastic as far as I'm concerned. If you have experience with this watch, or if you have questions or comments, please leave those in the comments section and I'll try to get to them. And as always, thanks for watching.